Opening day of training camp is still around the corner, but Lakers Nation is already buzzing with one question. Who should crack the starting lineup? Fans are debating it everywhere. Which five they want to see, which five they think the coaching staff will actually go with, and what combination gives this team the best shot at success. The truth? The Lakers don't just have one clear path. They've got three legit options. But this time, they can't afford to mess around. Last season was a cautionary tale. The Lakers rolled out a ridiculous 25 different starting lineups, none of which lasted more than 15 games together. Some lineups barely played 1 or 2 games before being scrapped. Sure, injuries played a part, but let's be real, there was way too much experimenting. That constant shuffling killed team chemistry. If they want to avoid another wasted season, the Lakers need to make a decision during training camp and stick with it. At most, maybe rotate between 2 or 3 setups depending on matchups, but no more lineup roulette. So, what's the first option? The lineup that actually closed last season. Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and Jackson Hayes. Believe it or not, that group quietly delivered. They logged 13 regular season games together, going 10-3, the best record of any Lakers starting 5 last year. Offensively, it flowed well, and defensively, it held up just enough. But when the playoffs came, the cracks started to show. By Game 5, Hayes was completely out of the rotation. That's why it's almost guaranteed he won't be back in the mix this season. Which brings us to the simplest adjustment. Swap Hayes for DeAndre Ayton. On paper, it makes perfect sense. You're still rolling with Luka, Reeves, Rui, and LeBron, but replacing Hayes with a far more talented, skilled, and reliable big man. It's the continuity option. Minimal changes, no dramatic overhaul, just plugging in an upgrade. Ayton gives them rebounding, rim protection, and a smoother scoring touch inside, all without disrupting the chemistry of the other 4. But here's the thing. Lakers fans aren't just calling for stability. The conversation online has gotten way louder about defense. Over and over again, fans are pointing out that Luka and LeBron, as great as they are, aren't bringing elite defense at this stage of their careers. That's why names like Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt keep popping up in debates. Adding one of them into the starting 5 could bring the toughness and defensive balance this lineup desperately needs. And then there's Austin Reeves. He's the polarizing piece. Some fans want him in the starting lineup. Others believe he'd be way more effective as a 6th man running the bench unit. Giving him control of the second unit with Rui or LaRavia could finally fix the Lakers' bottom 10 bench scoring problem. It's a tough call. Do you maximize Reeves' chemistry with Luka and LeBron, or do you let him carry the second unit's offense? The bottom line is this: the Lakers can't afford indecision again. Training camp has to be about committing to a vision. Whether it's sticking with the core 4 and swapping Hayes for Ayton, or shaking things up with Smart or Vando, or even unleashing LaRavia as an X-factor, the choice has to be made early. Because the wrong lineup experiment could cost them momentum, chemistry, and ultimately, their shot at a championship. The Lakers built some chemistry last season, no doubt about it. Offensively, they looked dangerous at times, and with DeAndre Ayton stepping in for Jackson Hayes, there's reason to believe their scoring could reach an even higher level. On paper, this swap keeps the same continuity. Luka, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, now with Ayton anchoring the middle. The argument is simple. Stay consistent, keep the offensive firepower intact, and hope the group shows more defensive commitment. But here's where things get tricky. The one glaring weakness from that lineup isn't hard to spot. It's not about their scoring, their chemistry, or their ability to move the ball. It's about defense, or the lack of it. And it's not just any kind of defense. It's at the most critical points on the floor: the point of attack, the wings, and the three-point line. We've seen it time and time again. Neither Austin Reeves nor Rui Hachimura is built to take on the toughest defensive assignments. They're solid role players, but locking down an opposing star guard or wing isn't their strength. Luka and LeBron, as brilliant as they are offensively, aren't stepping into that role either. If Reeves can't do it, Rui can't do it. Luka and Bron won't do it. Then who will? That's the reality of this 5-man combination. Without a true stopper, they risk falling into the same cycle that hurt them last season. Explosive offense, but breakdown after breakdown when it matters most. And that's exactly why some fans and analysts are calling for a shakeup. Instead of repeating the same mistakes, maybe it's time to sacrifice a little offense for defense. Maybe the Lakers need to replace Rui Hachimura or even Austin Reeves with someone who can lock down, switch across positions, and give them a fighting chance against elite scorers. Enter Jared Vanderbilt. This isn't just some hypothetical idea. Vanderbilt has already been in the starting lineup before. He's proven he can make an impact, and many still consider him the Lakers' best pure defender. What makes Vando so valuable is his versatility. He can guard 1 through 4, point guards, wings, even power forwards. He brings energy, length, toughness, and more often than not, he wins those individual matchups. Slotting Vanderbilt into the lineup instantly balances the defense. Finally, you'd have someone who can take on the toughest assignment night after night. That's huge when you're flanked by stars like Luka and LeBron who don't want to waste their energy chasing scorers all game. Of course, this move comes at a cost, and it's offense. Vanderbilt is not a reliable shooter, and while Rui brought spacing and a catch-and-shoot threat, Vanderbilt does not. When you pair him with Ayton, who's also not a perimeter shooter, suddenly your spacing shrinks. No more true 5-out offense. Even running a 4-out 1-in scheme becomes harder. Luka and LeBron thrive with space to operate, but with 2 non-shooters on the floor, defenses can clog the lane, daring Vanderbilt or Ayton to make a shot from distance. This is the trade-off. On one side, you add a defensive specialist who fills the team's biggest hole. On the other, you risk cramping the offense, slowing down spacing, and making it tougher for your stars to dominate. It all comes down to priorities. If the Lakers decide defense is the #1 need, Vanderbilt is probably the best choice. But what if they want more balance? What if they want defense without completely sacrificing their offensive rhythm? That's where another option comes in: Marcus Smart. Unlike Vanderbilt, Smart isn't just a defensive piece. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year, capable of guarding multiple positions, pressuring ball handlers, and setting a tone the Lakers badly need. But unlike Vando, Smart also brings playmaking and just enough shooting to keep defenses honest. He's not an elite floor spacer, but he's more capable than Vanderbilt, and offensively, he doesn't take away as much. Imagine swapping Reeves or Rui for Smart. Suddenly, you've got Luka, Smart, LeBron, Rui or Ayton, and a balanced 5th piece. Smart provides the grit, toughness, and perimeter defense that lineup desperately needs, while still allowing the Lakers to run offensive sets without the floor collapsing. He's scrappy, he's battle-tested, and his intensity could be the perfect complement to Luka's brilliance and LeBron's leadership. So here's the real question: how much do the Lakers truly value defense? If they believe their offensive core of Luka, LeBron, Ayton, and Reeves is enough to score on anyone, then adding Vanderbilt makes sense to patch up the defensive holes. But if they want to balance both ends of the floor, keep the spacing alive, and still raise their defensive ceiling, Marcus Smart might actually be the smarter fit. The Lakers can't afford to hesitate this time. The decision isn't just about filling a spot, it's about setting the tone for the season. Do they lean on chemistry and continuity, sticking with last year's lineup and hoping Ayton changes the math? Do they go all in on defense with Vanderbilt, knowing it might cramp their offense? Or do they aim for balance with Smart, hoping his two-way game bridges the gap? Whatever they decide, it needs to be clear, early, and consistent. Because if the Lakers repeat last year's endless shuffling, they'll waste precious time and chemistry. And in a Western Conference this competitive, there won't be room for trial and error. When it comes to making a real adjustment to this Lakers lineup, Marcus Smart presents a very interesting case. No, he's not an elite three-point shooter, but he's still much better than the 28% Jared Vanderbilt gave them last season. Smart has hovered around 33% from deep across his career, and more importantly, he's shot 35.4% from the corners, which is a far more encouraging number. He's the type of player who can get hot on offense, but what really separates him from Vanderbilt is that Smart can actually create shots for himself, set up teammates, and even act as a secondary playmaker. That's a huge benefit offensively. He's not just a catch-and-shoot option. He can put the ball on the floor, read the defense, and make things happen. From a schematic standpoint, Smart gives them more options. With him in the lineup, the offense becomes less predictable. He adds on-ball creation, some off-ball versatility, and the experience of being in big-time games. That's something Vanderbilt simply can't offer. However, when you look at the defensive side, Smart doesn't bring the same size or raw versatility that Vanderbilt does. At 6'3" and 220 pounds, with a 6'19" wingspan, Smart is extremely strong for his size and much more versatile than your average combo guard. Last season, he guarded point guards 21% of the time, shooting guards 28%, small forwards 22%, power forwards nearly 20%, and even spent about 9% of his time defending centers. That kind of defensive versatility is rare for someone his height. He uses his strength and wingspan to battle up a position or two. And while he can't match Vanderbilt's ability to guard 1 through 4 at an elite level, Smart is still far more switchable than most guards in the league. That's why he represents such a balanced option. If Vanderbilt is the defensive specialist and Rui Hachimura is the offensive boost, Marcus Smart sits right in the middle as the guy who can give you a bit of both. In my opinion, balance is exactly what the Lakers need. They already have high-end offensive weapons in LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and DeAndre Ayton. What they lack is a lineup that can be trusted to defend while also keeping the offense afloat. Smart gives them that bridge. Sliding Smart into the starting lineup and moving Rui Hachimura to the bench feels like the most natural fit. Rui provides much-needed offense for the second unit, while Smart raises the defensive ceiling of the starters without cratering the offense. This also splits Smart and Vanderbilt's minutes more evenly, allowing both to contribute in different situations. And let's not forget, Smart has proven his value on the biggest stage. Nearly 390 career starts and 108 playoff games speak volumes about his reliability when it matters most. He's versatile, battle-tested, and experienced in high-pressure environments. Of course, there are concerns. Smart isn't the most durable option, and neither is Vanderbilt. Both have struggled to stay healthy in recent years. In fact, neither has played more than 40 games in a season over the past 3 years. If the Lakers are looking for a starting five that can last the grind of an 82-game schedule, then choosing Smart or Vanderbilt might not be the most reliable option. Durability matters, especially when your core already has injury concerns. That's why some may argue it could be safer to stick with the more conservative route. Replace Jackson Hayes with DeAndre Ayton, lean on the continuity that group built last season, and see how far it can take you. The defense won't be elite, but you're banking on offensive firepower and chemistry to win games. Another dark horse solution could be someone like Jake LaRavia. He doesn't have the resume of a Smart or Vanderbilt, but he may prove to be a more durable and dependable option across a full season. If he steps up, the Lakers might consider giving him a real role in the rotation. Still, if you're asking me, I lean toward Marcus Smart. He provides the best balance between offense and defense, gives you more flexibility with rotations, and has proven he can handle playoff basketball. You get enough defense to cover for Doncic and LeBron, while still maintaining enough shooting and creation to avoid clogging up the offense. To me, that's the formula the Lakers should chase. So the question becomes, what matters more to them? Maximum defense with Vanderbilt, more offense with Rui, durability with someone like LaRavia, or balanced two-way play with Smart? Every option has trade-offs, but in my opinion, Smart is the one that ties the pieces together best. But what do you guys think? If you were building the Lakers' starting lineup, would you go with Marcus Smart for balance, Jared Vanderbilt for defense, Rui Hachimura for offense, or even a wildcard option like Jake LaRavia for durability? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it.